Good morning and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about frame rates in video. Now, just going to wait for this car to go past. Beauty. So hopefully you can hear me. I'm trying something new today. So I've got the Osmo Pocket 3 active tracking. I am at a place called Shelsey, I believe it's called. I'll put a link up here and a link in the description. In one of the previous videos, which I'll link up here, we talked about shutter speed, so I'll talk about frame rates. I've got the R5, the R5C is in my bag at the moment, and yeah, just have a little bit of fun. So we're going to talk about 25 frames a second, 50 frames a second, and 100 frames a second. In America, you have 30 frames a second, 60 frames a second and 120. So most YouTubers, you might say, oh, I'll put it on 120. But in the UK, we'll have, 100 frames a second. In cinema, you'd have 24 frames a second. Back in the day, basically how many times the shutter would open would be 24 frames, so 24 pictures a second. And we just simplify it to 25 frames a second. So at the moment I'm shooting 4K 25 frames a second. And then if you wanted to go half speed, you would do 50 frames a second. And then if you wanted to go 4 times slower, you would have 100 frames a second. Pretty dark now, pretty dark. I've used this on a car rig, so it's on, it's not on any auto modes or anything like that. So when you're doing, with video, frames, if you're changing your frame rate, you need to change your 2 seconds. Beauty. Let me turn you, so at least you can see behind me, hopefully. There we go, look at that. Let's move here so that you can see me. There we go. Beauty. So with frame rates, your shutter speed, for example, should be double your frame rate. So if I'm shooting 25 frames a second on here, the shutter speed should be 50th of a second. If you're shooting 50 frames a second, your shutter speed should be 100th of a second. And if you're shooting 100 frames a second, frame rate, wait for that to go past. Beauty. This would be a good tester for the new DJI mics. I've got the DJI mic Mark II, I think it is. The ones that come with the creator pack of this Osmo. And also it's the first time using this Osmo, so it's a good test. So, where was I? If you're shooting 100 frames a second, then your shutter speed should be 1/200th of a second. It doesn't have to be doubled, but it's preferable because what you need to do is keep natural motion blur. So if I did this with my hand, you can see that there's motion blur within the image because of the double the frame rate rule. So in cinema you would have 24 frames a second and the shutter speed would be 48th of a second. But in cinema they shoot at shutter angle, which is something slightly different, which I'll probably move on into another video. I have plans to do shutter angle versus shutter speed. It's fairly similar, just shutter angle helps you out and it's slightly different terminology. So what we're going to do is I'm going to watch for these cars coming past. I'm going to shoot 25 frames a second in real time so you can see the motion blur. 50 frames a second to get half speed and 100 frames a second. You do get cameras as well that go crazy speeds. There's a really great channel I'll link below if I remember, called the Slow-Mo Guys, and they do stuff that's like 80,000 frames a second on a special camera. The trouble with having something, the higher the frame rate, so if you went to 80,000th of a second, the trouble you have is light. You need more light to, because the shutter speed's going so fast, the actual shutter is going so fast, you need even more light to light the subject. So yeah, points to be aware that if you are out and about and you're shooting something indoors, for example, that's at a slow frame rate, so slow motion, you would ideally have, you would need to ramp up your ISO to match. Now, if you're outdoors like I am in a really bright situation and you need to keep it at 4K, 25 frames a second, so many numbers, then you would have a neutral density filter like I have on here. I have a neutral density filter on that, and what that is, I was going to do a separate video, but we'll talk about it now. You have a neutral density filter on here that you can change how much light goes into the end of your lens to darken or brighten, so that you can correct your exposure, so that you don't have to ramp up your aperture and you don't have to ramp up your shutter speed. If you ramped up your shutter speed, then it would be really, really choppy because there's too many frames within the second and it just won't look very natural. That's why we try and keep it with that rule of having it 24 frames a second and 48 shutter speed. That was crazy loud. I hope that all makes sense. There's a lot going on this morning, and I also never film out in public with, I was going to swear then, with a lot of people, and there's a lot of people out here today, so there's loads of new things today. We've got crazy sun going in and out, new microphone, new camera. Ideally you would test this, but I wanted to do it on an event that I've never been to before and do it in real time. So I'm going to do a couple of clips. Luckily, actually, what we have here is cars every like 30 seconds. Oh, that one's a beauty. It's going quite slow. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my camera on, put it in video mode to start with because I was doing pictures. So 4K, 25 frames a second, so the shutter speed needs to be a 50th of a second. Which it is, I don't know if you can see it on here. Probably not, but it's a 50th of a second. I'm at 2.8, my ISO is 125th, 125 rather. And you can adjust the ND like this to make it darker or brighter. You might be able to see it on here. Maybe, not sure, but we're going to film it in real time. Let's do this one. So I hope you got me on that one. That was I'll show you now, 25 frames a second. Going to change it now to 50th and get the next one. Didn't get the next one, so I'm going to change it to 50 frames a second. So the shutter speed is now 100th of a second shutter speed, but I've had to change my ISO because we've gone up a stop. I've had to change my ISO to 250, like I mentioned with it was 125, and it's now 250 because we've doubled. So the next time we're going to have to double again or change the ND. But we're going to get this one now on slow motion. That was a beauty. So I'll show you that now whilst I change the settings. And now we're going to have to go into a different mode on here. Go to high frame rate mode. Oh, that red one was a beaut. So we're now on high frame rate road, so I'm 100 frames a second, so it'd be 4 times slower than before. And the sun's gone in. So my ISO, even it's still underexposed, my ISO is 800. So we're gonna get this next one in slow motion. Beaut. We're gonna get the next one in slow motion as well, because slow motion always looks good. So just to recap, 800 ISO, 200th of a second, and I'm at 2.8 aperture. Right, we're gonna get this next one. Sounds great as well. Also, points to note, you don't capture audio in most cameras when you're shooting in slow motion, so you have to add it in afterwards. That one was terrible. Out of focus. That was terrible. We're going to get the next one. Cool. Let's go. That was a good one. I like that one. I do have to commend the Canon's autofocus. I've got it in vehicle mode. I very rarely use, I'm going to change the settings now. Very rarely use, what do you call it? Vehicle autofocus, because obviously I'm starting out again. So good. This is my first car event I've been to for a long time. So, especially with these single-seater cars as well. I'm going to move this way so that you can see the cars. Should be able to see the cars behind me at some point. So, what was I saying? Lost my train of thought now. Pass. I'm going to have to crazy ramp up this exposure on here. It's nuts. Very distracting, these cars. Let's see it. Let's have a look. Nearly stacked it. I can't even remember what I was going to say now. Can't even remember. Oh, to recap. So, excuse me. Oh yeah, autofocus. So yeah, I very rarely use the Canon's vehicle-specific autofocus because I'm usually filming people within the army. So I'm really impressed, actually. Really impressed how good it is. This one's flying. Crazy. I was thinking how much grip they get going around the corner because it's uphill. It's nuts. If you've ever tried to floor it uphill, it's always better to try and drift uphill, not do any togue stuff when you're going downhill and slide out on a corner. But yeah, this Osmo is pretty good. I hope it's not too jarring for you. But I'm waffling now. What are we at? 16 minutes. Obviously, I've cut this down a little bit. So yeah, frame rates. Go off on a right tangent. Let's just recap then. If your intention is to change your frame rate so that you're 25 frames a second, 50 frames a second, or 100 frames a second, then you need to adjust your shutter speed or shutter angle. So we'll just stick with shutter speed. So shutter speed would be, we got the safety car coming up. Bit of audio, a lack of audio for the last little bit, which is good. Just to recap, yeah. So you double it every time. Points to note, obviously, as you double your shutter speed, you will be losing light, so you'll need to ramp up your ISO, change your aperture, or like I said, buy an ND filter, neutral density filter. There's various different ones that work in stocks, or you can get a variable ND filter where you can change it, like I said, on the fly. Loads of NDs. I might do, let me know in the comments below if you want an ND video specific, an ND filter specific video. But yeah, other than that, that's frame rates. Let me know in the comments below if you have anything extra that you want to know. And I'll wrap this one up because we're 17 minutes in and probably sick of my waffling. So thanks very much for watching. Click any of the affiliate links in the comments in the description below. They're all links to some of the camera gear that I use. They're all coming past me now. So yeah, look in the link below. I've got a free exposure guide that I mentioned in some other videos that will help you out with shutter speed, aperture and ISO. And like I said, some affiliate links, and a little caveat to that is if you buy anything like this Osmo or the R5 from those links, I do get a little bit of a kickback, but it doesn't cost you anything extra. It's just a great way to follow the link direct to the actual kit that I use. With this Osmo, I've had it about a month maybe, pardon me, and this is the first time using it with me as opposed to using it for car stuff, which I will make a video like that in the future. So, like I said, thanks very much for watching, and I shall catch you in the next one.